Hey everyone, my name is Rooster and welcome back to Mechabellum. Today's video is a longer one and this match was quite something. It had a little bit of everything, goes on for about 13 rounds. My opponent builds a level 9 Wraith. I mean, it was all over the place, so I hope that you're ready. I have my favorite specialist, elite specialist, starting with Sabers and Fangs. Sabers, as of late, have been very, very popular. One of the most picked packs, I would say, or at least from what I've seen in the Heimamar games. Don't know exactly why that is. It might just be because Stormcallers have gotten a little bit weaker, and yeah, after the kind of host of buffs that the Sabretooth has received, from like hit points to attack interval going down, it seems to perform quite well now, and it can be very, very hard to deal with if it manages to get some levels early. Anyway, I decided to pair it with some Hounds. I really like to pick up Hounds on Elite. I think that they're great when they are level 2. They manage to one-shot the crawlers, as I've talked about plenty times before. And yeah, just the nice benefit of being elite, I guess. I'm up against Keepals, who is a training specialist. Starts out with Fangs and Sledgehammers, as you can see. Adds double crawler there. And I mean, yeah, we should be favored here on round 1. It would be kind of surprising if we do win. We happen to be in a headbutt. Got those Hounds. Some of them are going down, though. Not all of them kind of able to deal with these Fangs on the side. I will need to add a Hound over there, but I'd be surprised if the Sledgehammers can take down all of my Sabers. Should just be a little bit too tanky to take down. And, well, while it takes quite a bit of time for the Sabers to get through those Sledgehammers, it eventually will do it. And now round number 2, we immediately see some unit reinforcements. We've got Rhinos, Tarantulas, Void Eyes, and Stormcallers. And, poof, I mean, what do you even go for here? I could transition into Tarantula if I want to, but I don't really want to have to pay the extra price just because it's a level 2 unit, since I can get level 2 Tarantulas whenever I want to. Same thing kind of applies to the Stormcallers, and I mean, the Voiders are level 3, but DPS-wise, I should be fine here. I already have those Sabers. I'd kind of be looking for something else. So, my mind kind of goes towards Rhino. That way, I don't really have to pay much of anything, and I can just kind of go about my way. It's not ideal, because ideally I'd be able to skip, and then I can buy, you know, 1 300 cost, 1 150 cost. Now I'll just have to make do with 2 150 costs. But at least it's not like a big investment, and I'll have the Rhino unlocked, which can sometimes be nice on Elite. Opponent picks up the Rhino as well, aiming for my right tower. This is a very common thing, especially when you're playing aggro. You kind of have to expect a round 2 cheese somewhere. Phoenixes on the flanks are very common, especially with unit drops. Very, very common for them to attack your weak side. And I mean, for you to do the same thing, so you kind of have to be prepared. We put a Hound back there just in case he added some chaff. Next to his Rhino, and then we put some crawlers behind the tower to try and trickle through my Hounds. And yeah, we should win. Nice. The Rhino able to win against his Rhino because we have the help of the Hounds. Left side not looking too bad. Kind of the same thing as before. There is only 2 Hounds left though, but maybe... Yes, there we go. They take out that Sledgehammer. They can help out the Saber that's getting overwhelmed a tiny bit by the Crawlers. Opponent did pick up some more chaff, I believe. Also level up the Sledgehammer. Now, we can still one-shot those. But of course, they do have double the attack of a level 1. And Rhino doing fantastic there, by the way, able to take down both towers. Will eventually go down to the Sledgehammers, but the Sabretooth will able to take over, and even is able to pick up a level. So, a very good early game so far. As we enter round number 3, we're still full health, 5.4k hit points. And yeah, able to pick up some levels where needed. Things are looking good. Already though, look at the amount of chaff that is on this board. Triple Fang, quadruple Crawler, Fang over here as well. Lots and lots of deployment. So, I mean, we might need something other than that, or those Hounds to chaff clear through it. We decide to skip, nothing too important there. And I decided to go for a Wraith. Also one of the main reasons that I decided to skip, because it allows me to buy 1 more Crawler and also get the unlock and the unit itself. But yeah, Wraith has been another super popular unit as of late. Very, very good chaff gear unit. And yeah, just dominant in these type of headbutt scenarios. It can't really get stuck. That's one of the benefits that it has, and when it gets levels, that 8-gun tech hits very hard. Opponent, by the way, levels the Rhino, so we'll get through to my right side. Didn't exactly plan for that. He goes for a Wraith as well, but with mine being level 2 and us breaking through that left side pretty easily this time, with all the chaff being gone that much quicker, we should be able to win. It's going to come down to how this Rhino behaves, but hopefully this Sabertooth can turn and kind of dump some shots into it, and then the Wraith should be able to clean up afterwards. Turns, does shoot, not enough to finish it off. 9-second debuff. Rhino will chop my level 2 Saber, but the other one will now turn. We get the debuff in return, and that should be 3 rounds in a row, with about as good of an early game as we could hope for. And alright, here we go. Super heavy armor though, that is not ideal for us. A little bit scary on the sledgehammers, especially with something like regen that might become an issue, although I guess he doesn't run it. Full carry tech, or well, for the most part carry tech, still has the armor enhancement on there. We do both pick it up. I decided to go for a steel ball, so can't really complain too much either. Basically the other unit on which that item is fantastic and allows us to deal with this Rhino. Also a good pairing in general with Wraith. So that's how we're going to do this. Another Wraith shows up on the left. No DPS though for key pals this round. So we might just be able to kind of scam our way through the round again. If this Wraith doesn't take too much damage, it should be able to take down both of those Wraith. Right side also pushing in now. Didn't really add any anti-air there, so the Wraith is clearing my crawlers, but the steel balls are just pushing through. So much hit points on them. 25k per steel ball is a lot. Left side though, kind of the same story with the sledgehammers. 27k on the level 3s. That is ridiculous. And it's just going to be 2 Wraith left. But mine is still basically full health. And as we get the tower debuff and we finally take down those ultra tanky sledgehammers, it should be 4 for 4. So really, this couldn't have gone any better. And now we might want to start thinking about some DPS, right? Both of us, realistically, should get some anti-air, aside from these Wraith, to deal with those opponent Wraith. Speaking of which, the second round of unit reinforcements is here. High-level Phoenix shows up. Probably something that we should pick. There is Wasp as well, but you have to double tech them if you want them to take down Wraith. And honestly, once you get to range 8-gun, tons of chaff, they can sometimes struggle. Didn't really want to have to double tech because I want to double tech my Wraith as well. So I'm just going to pick up that Phoenix instead. He does the same thing. And I add another Wraith to the right side, right? We didn't have any anti-air, any real chaff clear there, aside from these hounds. Now we've got some serious stuff. We click range on the Wraith. He does the same thing. We also add a marksman to that right side. Now, you might be a bit confused because usually I would say, you know, try and pick 1 DPS unit or 1 anti-air unit, either marksman or Phoenix, and then tech that. Here, the reason that I'm going into marksman is because I think marksman is better into Wraith, specifically because of the anti-air tech. This tech is insane against Wraith, at least if you manage to pick it up early. If the Wraith is over leveled, you might need a melter, but it's really, really good to kind of help out in these type of mirror scenarios, and even outside of them, just an insanely good unit for tech against the Wraith. More so than the Phoenix. They pack more damage, they're more efficient, right? You get 2 units for 1 deployment, but they don't have that aerial prioritization tech. And so I kind of wanted to try and get some marksmen on the board, and then, you know, since I got the Phoenix for free, I'm okay with keeping it here. It's good DPS. Although we seem to struggle quite a bit on the left side. His Phoenix is able to lock on that much earlier. We do win the right side after a pretty long fight. Opponent there double teching, not double teching, leveling up their Wraith twice. And yeah, tough to get through. Phoenixes will take down my tower. Crawler is now going to annoy my marksman, and that should be the round for key pals. So after going 4 rounds without a loss, round 5, we take some serious damage, and suddenly we're down to 4.2k. One more round like that, and things will be equalized. Round number 6, Rhino Assault, maybe something to think about. Both of our backlines are pretty exposed. Redeployment, though, haven't talked about this that much, but that spell is probably a bit too cheap. I wouldn't mind if it got nerfed at some point or whatever, but it is insanely powerful, especially with how popular things like Titans are right now, with how the meta develops. Being able to just move one of your strongest units at will every single round without cooldown is extremely powerful and very hard to deal with for the other person, right? Now, I could have picked it here as well. In fact, I maybe should have, but it's kind of a guessing game at that point because he doesn't know where I'm going to be and I don't know where he's going to be. And well, turns out that he is in front of my right tower with his big Wraith. Decides to double tech it. He'll have the floating artillery array already. I don't. Didn't quite have the money for it because my units are so expensive. I decided to go for AA Marksman instead. And so yeah, as you will see, our tower sadly will go down to that Wraith. And that doesn't bode too well. Left side Wraith was doing quite well, but yeah, the debuff doesn't exactly help. Looks like we'll lose another round. Right side is pushing in. Steel balls will eventually get the tower, but won't be too much that we can do about that. We have lost both of our towers already, so maybe when we recover, we can take down some of these units and kind of alleviate or reduce the damage that we're going to take. But yeah, certainly not ideal. Redeploy, very, very good for anyone playing on the line. Allows you to just move around your important stuff, and usually important stuff requires big counters or big investments from your opponent, and if you can just avoid it by, you know, moving your unit, then that's a really, really big benefit. Round number 7, we have the Orbital Javelin. Don't mind the photon emission here, that is a spectator bug or a visual bug. Opponent decides to go for the photon emission, and we are going to be aiming for this Wraith on the left, or perhaps even the sledgehammers. It does seem like my opponent is trying to beacon backwards his phoenixes. I was quite unsure where I wanted the javelin because he did have a redeploy, so you know he can move one Wraith and he can also beacon some stuff. I wanted to try and hit the sledgehammers because they took the longest to take down in my opinion, and they only have, well, they almost have 40,000 hit points apiece, but the javelin deals 70k, so if we can hit them, at least that'll remove kind of a big stalling unit on my opponent's board. But yeah, I really kind of wish that I did have the redeploy at this point, because as you can see, right side tower getting abandoned somewhat, bunch of sledges in the way to slow things down, and then a level 3 tower, which at this point is starting to become, you know, less and less worth to take down. Excuse me as I stutter there. But yeah, 5 seconds of debuff. If he levels it once more, it'll go down to 3, and then, I mean, what really are we doing? I decided to pick up another Wraith, 8 gun as well. I elite recruit a marksman and a Wraith. So it's going to be level 3 marksman, level 3 Wraith. And we are loaning here. Round 7 tends to be kind of the average round that I start loaning. And it allows me to get those important techs. Right now we also have the 8 gun. We have both of the tower enhancements. And we have temp range, which is going to be really important in these type of mirror fights. And looks like it has paid off. The javelin didn't quite hit everything we wanted, I think. Some of the units got out with the mobile beacon, but good enough. Especially with the tech that we did, that we're able to pick up another round. And it's a successful one. Keepall is now down to 2k hit points. Round number 8. Electromagnetic Blast and Electromagnetic Impact available. That is a little bit scary. Very, very powerful spells, especially against the aerial units, because whilst Farseer is a unlockable unit now, its photon tech does not hit air units. You will still need to buy an Overlord. And well, guess what? When you're elite, buying a giant like that and having to buy it at level 2 just for the photon effect is very, very tough to do. And so I just say, well, I hope I trade the EMP with my opponent and I can just get out of it without taking too much damage. Maybe we can even trade and like win, but I cannot afford to go for a boat here. It's way too expensive. 200 unlock, 700 for the boat, and then another 300 just for photon. I would have to gamble which side the EMP would be used. There's just, you know, no reason to kind of try to go there. Wraith on the right side, by the way, getting redeployed. Level 5 already with that intensive training. I decided to EMP the left because that's where most of the units were. And it seems like the sledges were sold such that the super heavy now sits on that level 5 Wraith. 200k hit points. That is a very, very beefy air unit. I decided to shield on the left side because I thought that's where he would EMP. Turns out it was the incorrect side. And we'll just have to see how this goes. Phoenixes are still there. I might sell those. I think I kept them because they were still doing alright. But now that we're starting to get into more and higher level marksmen, I might eventually just sell it because I don't want to take range on it since it's only a lone Phoenix. And it's worth a whole bunch of experience at level 4. It's also like worth quite a bit of resources, mind you. So selling it and then maybe going into something like double shot on the marksman could be worth it. So right side losing, as expected, it got EMP'd, but left side winning. And now it's up to those marksmen to kind of work away at the Wraith. Still, the level 5, nearly full health with that 200k hit points. But seems like we should be able to get through. Triple marksman now locked onto it. And oh my days, that damage is through the roof. Look at that. Taking down my Wraith in the process as well, or almost doing so. But we managed to stave off the scary EMP round, and now our opponent is down to about 1200 hit points. Round number 9, Photon Emission. Shows up once more. Picked up the first time by Key Pals when I took the Javelin. Now shows up again, and I do decide to pick it. The additional kind of tanky stats here are going to be really, really worthwhile with how high level these Wraith are. And, well, the steel balls are still there. Now, you might ask yourself, why am I keeping it? Because there's nothing for the steel balls to shoot at, but they're just very, very tanky. And I kind of like that. Just for kind of having the 4 bodies, right? It'll take the Wraith multiple guns to kind of lock onto these different steel balls. And then, yeah, it's just like a very efficient way to deal with, or like to use this item. I could put it on a Wraith myself too, but if the Phoenix locks on to like a single Wraith, or if he buys a Melter or whatever, that'll take it down much more easily than something like this high-level steel ball pack with the heavy armor. And have a look at that. Oh my days. Wraith stack on the right side. Degen beam has been activated. Luckily, I have the photon this turn. Wraiths on the flank. There was one on the left. I think that one got redeployed to the right flank now. And I decided to go for one too. Jump drive on my Phoenix. Marksman here in front of the Phoenix. That's to try and tank a missile, or otherwise try and, well, just die very quickly so that the crawlers don't get pulled too much and the Phoenix has a cleaner way into the tower. This Phoenix, by the way, 8k hit points, so it can tank a missile, but opponent has abandoned the left side completely and that tower is suddenly level 4. What is going on? And it's 2 missiles, so never mind. We could tank 1, but we couldn't tank 2. Right side collapsing. Big Wraith still there. Level 8 at this point. What on earth happened there? I think it leveled by itself once or twice, and then another level came in from the intensive training. So round 9, and we're almost up to a level 9 Wraith. These marksmen, by the way, they do have double shot, but the Wraith is just way too tanky. 300,000 hit points at this point. Yeah. Houston, we have a problem. Now, I could go for maybe a Melter, something like that, but I was a bit concerned about the Degen beam. So I was also considering just picking up something like an Overlord. And round number 10, we do get a little bit of cash injection with Phantom Rays, Abyss Factory, and Fire Badgers available. Phantom Rays definitely worth the most here, worth 800. Abyss and Factory are worth 800 as well, but you have to pay 200 to get them. So yeah, only 600 profit there. Key Pals picks up the Factory. I decided to pick up the Phantom Rays. It'll take 2 turns to sell out of it, but I felt like the extra 200 was worth it, and at 3k hit points, I shouldn't be in any danger of dying immediately. Keepal's valuing the instant money from the looks of things, just sells that factory for a quick 600. And I might even keep these Phantom Rays, to be honest. I don't need to sell them necessarily. They can be useful against some of the lower level Wraith. And have a look at this. Mechabellum sandworms now being purchased for Keepals. One on the flank as well. And I do decide to keep the Phantom Rays, and I decide to go for burst mode. So the idea being, maybe I can clear the chaff, then if the Phantom Ray can lock on to a Wraith or something else that's very tanky, it hopefully can burst it down immediately and take it out of the fight. Very cheap tech, so considering I didn't have to pay for this pack, I felt like it was worth maybe trying to add some other DPS onto my board. I had a marksman there in the back as well, elite recruited of course. We have double attack and defense buffs, level 4 tower on the right side for us too, and we're beaconing some of these units to the right side to try and help out. Let's see how this goes. Worm there gets one shot. Wraith also doesn't stand a chance. It's not quite as tanky as this level 8 Wraith on the right side. It still isn't level 9, but Burst Rays, I would say, doing a really good job. 53k hit or damage dealt this round. I'm pretty happy with that. Marksman going to take down that big Wraith. That was the level 8. And you can see the big difference with the damage dealt against the lower level ones. And when I say lower level, I mean level 2, level 3 is still very good, but it's not quite level 8. Looks like we do manage to win. Only the Phoenixes remain, as we are stuck on that high level tower. But it's not going to be enough to finish off my opponent. Only going to send them down to about 500 hit points. So round 11, here we are. And a bunch of good items show up there. Heavy armor, as well as the advanced power system. Advanced power system picked up for Keepals, likes that speed. I could have picked it up as well, I guess, because I need to push in over here and then kind of make the journey over to the right side. Phoenixes I have retrieved, by the way, already last round with the jump drive. Decided to keep it since, well, it is big DPS. It's actually second on damage at the moment in my team. And, well, he's giving me plenty of targets to shoot at, even in close range. Javelin is back off cooldown. Heavy armor is what I picked up. Can just throw that onto either a Wraith or maybe some of the Phantoms. Opponent has Photon Emission back off cooldown. The first one they picked up, the one that I picked up later, will be available in 2 rounds. Which coincides with the Electromagnetic Blast, by the way, so that could be meaningful. And yeah, we haven't picked up Photon Emission yet, or yet at all, from the boat. But again, just like too expensive in my opinion, and I felt like I should be able to lock onto these Wraith and take them down. Maybe the level 9, yeah, now level 9 Wraith, highest level possible, with a super heavy armor. This might be the tankiest possible Wraith. I mean, I guess you could be fortified spec and you could have some of the advanced defensive specialist cards, but yeah, pretty much as tanky as a Wraith could ever get with this super heavy armor. 400,000 hit points worth of donut. Very, very scary. Wasps added to the flank there to try and distract. I decided to add a level 3 Saber in front of the worm so that it doesn't kind of move. Of course, we don't have any EMP at the moment, so the larvas will spawn, but the Wraith should be able to take those down relatively quickly. Marksman locked on, but taken down instantly. And, well, how is this going to go? Right side kind of collapsing. Marksman trying to do what they can. Maybe they can take down this... Oh, well, no, never mind. That's a level 9 Wraith. And it's looking for Marksman to gobble up. Right side completely fallen now. Opponent's units will make it over to the left side. Sadly, though, my Marksman, slower than the rest of my units, kind of isolate themselves. And that means that they'll probably get sniped. And it's just my level 4 Wraith against, yeah, 2 triple tech Wraith from my opponents. I at least managed to get the debuff. And actually, never mind. The Wraith clutches up. That debuff timer was very fortunate for me. Tower back there, I think only level... Oh, actually level 3. So 5 seconds of debuff. But just the 5 seconds we needed to finish off the enemy. But it's not enough. 222 is what Keepals is now sitting at. And welcome to round number 12. Advanced defensive tactics, there it is. So yeah, actually getting very close now to the tankiest possible Wraith. What are we up to? 440k. Insane. I should maybe buy a melter here, but I felt like it would just get overwhelmed by, yeah, how much is running towards the tower. I guess I could have put one over here, though, all the way kind of behind the tower, since this one going down isn't the biggest deal. It's only 3 seconds worth of debuff. But I could also just buy more marksmen and hope that that does the trick, since we have them double-teched. And in fact, I decided to go for something else. I just decided to say, well, you know, I can buy a level 3 mountain, and it has a pretty crazy tech with that mountain plating being available. So let's just pick that up. And that's what we do. Level 3 mountain with mountain plating will be blocking 2100 damage from any source. And at the same time, it's pretty good against most of these worms, right? Melter would have been decent against the Wraith, but I was a bit concerned that the worms would get out of control. And have a look at that. Triple tech now. Mech Rage, Replicate. That's going to be lots of larvae. So ideally, I would have something like a mountain or a factory to take those out somewhat efficiently whilst also tanking for the rest of my unit. It's not even necessarily about tanking for the tower at this point. It's kind of about tanking for my marksmen so that they don't get sniped. Wraith on the flank, by the way, level 4, but it seems like we will be able to get through it. And, I mean, I thought the mountain is tanking for quite a long time, let's be real. We have 5 Wraith double-teched, 1 level 9. We have level 9 Phoenixes as well shooting at it, and that's how long it managed to survive. But eventually it will go down, and now it's just up to my remaining marksman and Wraith to do the trick. Debuff will go down, and that's going to be 3 seconds. 3 seconds in which these Wraith can take down a couple more marksmen. And while we do take down one of the bigger Wraith, that level 9 is still very busy with killing my entire team. And so it looks like He-Pals will be holding on for dear life on round number 12 and strike back with about 700 damage remaining. And so it'll take at least round 13 before we crown a winner. It could even go longer if he manages to hold on for a little bit extra and doesn't kill me here. Round number 13, the last pack of unit reinforcements with a level 4 fortress being available. And I decided to just sell it because I felt like I have everything covered. My Wraith are insane. I have access again to my electromagnetic blast, as well as my photon coating. So this is very, very useful because it means I don't have to buy an Overlord. And I can simply cover all my units in that photon coating so they don't get their techs disabled. I buy another level 3 mountain, add that in front of the tower. And yeah, opponent here not buying photon bolt from the looks of things. Going for a fortress level 6 on the left side there. With some worms as well, trying to turn his attention to my left tower, but I leveled this to level 4 as well. 2 level 4 towers here, level 5 tower for my opponent on the right, level 4 on the left. About as high level towers as you can possibly get in a single game. And right side winning convincingly. Those Wraith, they were disabled by the EMP, beacon backwards, they recover, but, well, most of their friends and units they relied on have gone down. And now the mountains, full health, should just be able to take this over. Wraith are kind of stuck on that level 5 tower, but I think the mountains do have it. Couple marksmen here sitting safe as well behind the mountains. Going to lock onto that level 9 Wraith, which moved all the way to the left side thanks to the redeploy. And finally, after 13 rounds of intense battle, we managed to win. Quite a crazy game, one of the longer ones I've played. Not quite the longest, but it's getting up there. Definitely one that took a lot of my attention. And yeah, the marksmen eventually get there. Cool to see the mountain in play. Not like the most sophisticated way to use it. It's just, you know, kind of brute force tank. And see what happens. But it gets the job done. If I would have changed anything, maybe pick up a melter a bit earlier to try and deal with the Wraith. But again, you know, the problem with redeploy is that he could just move it all over the field. And I can't guarantee that my melter will be able to survive. I could keep it all the way in the back of the board, I guess, and buy 2 of them. But I felt like my marksmen should be able to get there with how high level they were getting. You know, you've got some level 6s on the left side there. I think that's about as high level as we went. Of course, opponent level 9 Wraith, level 9 Phoenixes. Kind of a crazy game, but yeah, lots and lots of stuff happening here. But we do manage to get it done in the end. If you like this video, please leave a thumbs up. Let me know down below what you thought of this game. Have you ever faced something like this? Do you like the saber openers? Do you like playing Wraith, or have you seen it too much? What about redeploy? Let me know. If you want to stay up to date with latest content, please consider subscribing. And if you want to see me play live, check me out on Twitch. With that being said, take care, guys, and see you in the next video. Bye-bye.